You've probably eaten something today that felt completely healthy. Maybe it was yogurt, maybe it was a bowl of oatmeal, maybe it was something labeled whole grain or low fat. But here's the uncomfortable truth most people never hear. Some of the most common foods in your kitchen, foods marketed as good for you, are quietly dismantling one of the most important systems in your body, your gut. And by the time you feel the damage, it's already been happening for months, maybe years. And number 3, it's probably sitting in your pantry right now. Your gut isn't just where food gets digested, it's where 70% of your immune system lives. It's where mood-regulating chemicals like serotonin are produced. About 90% of your serotonin is made in your gut, not your brain. And it's home to trillions of bacteria, fungi, and microbes that together form what scientists call your gut microbiome. When that microbiome is balanced, you feel sharp, energized, and resilient. When it's disrupted, bloating, brain fog, low energy, weakened immunity. And in the long run, a growing body of research links poor gut health to anxiety, depression, and even chronic disease. So if you care about how you feel and how you keep feeling as you get older, what you eat matters more than most people realize. Here are the 5 foods silently working against you. Let's start with one of the most deceptive food swaps of the last 30 years. Artificial sweeteners, sucralose, aspartame, saccharin, acesulfame K. You see them in diet sodas, sugar-free snacks, protein bars, flavored yogurts, and chewing gum. And for decades, we were told they were a smarter choice. 0 calories, no blood sugar spike. But your gut bacteria, they don't see it that way. Gut microbiome composition in human participants. In some people, they triggered what researchers call dysbiosis, an imbalance in gut bacteria that's linked to inflammation, glucose intolerance, and metabolic disruption. In other words, you switch to diet to be healthier, but your gut may have paid the price, and it gets worse. Some research suggests that artificial sweeteners may actually increase sugar cravings over time because they stimulate your taste receptors without giving your body the energy it expects. The fix is simpler than you think. Swap the pink packets for small amounts of raw honey, dates, or pure maple syrup. Real sugars your microbiome knows how to handle in moderation. But hold on, because food number 2 is even more surprising, and most people eat it every single morning. Breakfast cereals have one of the most masterful marketing histories in food. Heart healthy, good source of fiber, whole grain goodness. But flip that box around and read the ingredients. Most popular cereals, even the ones with health halos, contain refined grains, added sugars, and a lineup of synthetic additives that your gut bacteria can't use productively. A single serving of many popular cereals contains anywhere from 10 to 20 grams of added sugar. And refined carbohydrates that break down rapidly in your digestive tract do something specific. They feed the wrong bacteria. Your gut thrives on diversity. Different bacteria species eat different types of fiber, but feed your gut a flood of rapidly digested sugars and refined starch every morning, and you're essentially handing the aggressive, inflammatory bacteria a competitive advantage over the beneficial strains. Over time, this can reduce microbiome diversity. And lower microbiome diversity is consistently associated with worse health outcomes across dozens of studies. Swap the cereal for something your microbiome genuinely loves. Steel-cut oats, Greek yogurt with berries, or a savory egg-based breakfast. Real food, slow digestion, fed bacteria. Okay, I promised you number 3 would surprise you. Stay with me. This one catches almost everyone off guard. canola oil, vegetable oil, sunflower oil, corn oil, soybean oil. If you're eating packaged food, restaurant meals, or cooking at home with these oils, you're consuming seed oils, probably every single day. Here's why your gut has a problem with that. These oils are extremely high in omega-6 polyunsaturated fatty acids, specifically linoleic acid. Omega-6 fats aren't inherently evil. Your body needs some, but the ratio matters. Historically, humans ate roughly a 1:1 to 4:1 ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids. Today, the average Western diet sits closer to 20:1. That imbalance drives chronic, low-grade inflammation throughout the body, including in the gut lining. And an inflamed gut lining leads to increased intestinal permeability, sometimes called leaky gut, where the tight junctions of your gut wall begin to break down, allowing partially digested food particles and bacterial toxins to enter the bloodstream. Animal studies and emerging human research also suggest that high linoleic acid intake can negatively alter the composition of gut microbiota, reducing short-chain fatty acid-producing bacteria, which are essential for gut lining integrity. The better alternatives: extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, grass-fed butter, coconut oil in moderation, oils that have been part of human diets for thousands of years, oils your gut was built to handle. If you're finding this helpful, a quick like takes 1 second and helps more people find this information. It genuinely makes a difference. Now let's get to food number 4. And this one, it wears the health food costume better than almost anything else on this list. Look, no one wants to hear this one, but alcohol is one of the most well-documented gut disruptors in the scientific literature, and the evidence doesn't make exceptions for moderate drinking in the way we were once led to believe. Here's what happens every time you drink. Alcohol is absorbed rapidly through the gut lining. It disrupts the mucus layer protecting your intestinal walls. It increases intestinal permeability, and it directly suppresses the growth of beneficial bacteria, including lactobacillus and bifidobacterium, the 2 strains most associated with a healthy, resilient gut. Meanwhile, it increases the relative abundance of harmful gram-negative bacteria, whose outer membranes contain a toxin called lipopolysaccharide, LPS, that can pass through a compromised gut wall and trigger systemic inflammation. You don't need to be an alcoholic for this to be happening. Even a few drinks a week can meaningfully shift your microbiome composition over time. The practical takeaway here isn't necessarily total abstinence. That's a personal choice. But it is worth being honest about what the research says. And pairing any drinking with gut-supportive foods, fermented vegetables, fiber, prebiotic-rich meals to mitigate the impact. One more to go, and most people eating a healthy diet are consuming this one regularly because someone, somewhere, convinced us it was a superfood. This one is the sneakiest item on this entire list because it doesn't look like junk food. It looks exactly like the opposite. Protein bars, flavored nut milks, plant-based meat alternatives, fat-free salad dressings, healthy granola bars, probiotic drinks loaded with sugar. These products are ultra-processed foods wearing a wellness costume. Specifically, many of them contain emulsifiers, food additives used to improve texture and shelf life. Polysorbate 80, carboxymethylcellulose, carrageenan. A study published in Nature found that 2 of the most common emulsifiers, carboxymethylcellulose and polysorbate 80, directly disrupted gut microbiome composition in mice, causing inflammation and metabolic syndrome-like symptoms. Follow-up human research has produced consistent signals. These emulsifiers essentially thin out the protective mucus layer, separating your gut bacteria from the intestinal wall, bringing your microbiome into direct contact with tissue it was never supposed to touch. And here's the critical point. NOVA classification research from the University of São Paulo, now widely adopted in nutritional science, consistently shows that the degree of food processing is an independent predictor of health outcomes. It's not just about calories. It's not just about macros. It's about what's been done to the food before it reaches your plate. The rule is almost embarrassingly simple. The shorter the ingredient list and the more recognizable every ingredient, the safer your gut. So let's bring it all together. 5 foods that are silently working against your gut health. 1. Artificial sweeteners. They alter your microbiome in ways science is only beginning to understand. 2. Processed breakfast cereals. They feed the wrong bacteria and reduce microbiome diversity. 3. Seed oils. They push your omega-6 to omega-3 ratio into inflammatory territory. 4. Alcohol. It suppresses beneficial bacteria and increases gut permeability, even in moderate amounts. 5. Ultra-processed health foods. Their emulsifiers thin your gut's protective mucus layer and disrupt microbial balance. You don't need a perfect diet. You need a more aware one. Every swap you make toward real, whole, minimally processed food is a vote for the trillions of organisms working hard to keep you healthy. Your gut is talking to you all the time. Most people just don't know how to listen yet. If this video changed the way you think about what you eat, subscribe so you don't miss what we cover next. Because in our next video, we're going into the other side of this conversation, the 5 foods that actively repair and rebuild your gut lining, including one ancient food that modern science is now calling one of the most powerful gut healing tools we have. You're going to want to see that one.